Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to take a closer look at your submitter, admin, and double opt-in emails that pertain to your web forms. So I'm going to go ahead and click Publish. I'm going to go to Web Forms, and I'm going to dive back into a web form that I previously created for use of the basic video for creating web forms. I'm going to go directly to Settings, and first and foremost, you're going to see this tab Main. Now here it says define how to handle contacts submitted. Now by default we had add value if empty. That basically means if this last name, for example, you never had before, it's going to add that value to a contact rather than if it had a last name prior and maybe someone puts in a new last name or a different last name and it overwrites it. So overwriting, you could risk losing data. There may be some instances where you don't mind and that's how you'd like to go about it. So it's there if you need it. Down below, you're going to see confirmation options. Now, an alert message is something that shows to let someone know that the form has been submitted. So here I might say something like, if this was a contact form, which is the example we'd use, we might say something like, thanks, a rep is on the way. That might be a good way to just let someone know it worked and they're not bothered, they're not redirected anywhere, and they can go about browsing on your website. Another option is to redirect to a landing page, and we call this a thank you page just because you might have some kind of process in plate where someone submits a form, then you drive them to a web form to maybe deliver on a promise or deliver on an offer that you made. And then at that point, you could even use that landing page or thank you page to layer in another offer that pertains or has to do in some way with the first. And here you can see here's a list of your previously created landing pages in Leadsius. And last but not least, you have the option to redirect to an external page or a different area of your website. So that does it for the main. Let's move on to submitter. A submitter email is something that is an email that gets triggered automatically to a submitter. So here you're going to define your sender, and again, this is based off of the email addresses that you created in settings. So in this case, I'd maybe want to use something such as team@leadsius.com. This says no reply, but again, we do not advise using no reply. Use something like team or team, something like that. So I can put the subject, and I'll put this we have received your submission. That could be an example. Depending on what the form is for, you can respond appropriately. So a good example would be if this were a guide download, maybe here I could put, here's a link to your guide just in case you want to view it later at any time. And you could also maybe say, did you happen to know we offer free consultations? If you'd like it, click here to access it, kind of driving in a next step. Again, be very sensitive to what stage in the buyer's journey you're utilizing this form for. So if it's very top level, maybe you don't want to dive too hard or sound too pushy. So something like a guide download, maybe just providing a link is enough. But if you put here's a link, you could just highlight it. You can hyperlink to maybe the landing page where you can grab that guide or the direct link actually. And if you'd like, you could also dive into the source code of this email here and you could fancy it up with some HTML. So this is your submitter email. And again, this gets kicked as soon as the person submits every time they submit. Moving on to admin email. Your admin email is what you're going to use to keep your sales or other staff in the loop, or even external partners in some cases. So again, you'll define your sender. Let's just put it as me. And you can add multiple emails here. So if this were a RSVP or an RSVP maybe for something important, or some kind of very sales qualified action, I might want Chris or let's say Tom at Leadsius.com to know about it right away and Sarah at Leadsius.com because they both handle the newest, hottest leads. And I can click here and say, here is a new lead. You can put in whatever subject line you want. You could write whatever intro text you want. And the most important thing is to click here, this button you see that says Add Fields Response. This is going to make sure that what the submitter has input, their comments, their answers, or whatever, it's going to be sent to your staff. And this is triggered automatically just in the same way that the submitter email is. Last but not least, your double opt-in email. For those of you in a country where double opt-in is required, we have this for you. But again, this is not always needed. What a double opt-in is, if you've ever filled in a form or subscribed to an email list and you've gotten an email that says, click here and just verify that you actually want to be a part of this list, that's what this is. All right, so that does it for the nitty-gritty areas of our web form builder. Thank you for watching.